Okay, so Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm just going to give people a few minutes to join us as I find my page for my drash. Chapter 26, there you are. All right, well, again, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Like I said, I'm just going to give it like 2 more minutes or so, and then I will drash away. So Shabbat Shalom to everyone who's out there. I see Esther and Rena, and at least that's the only ones that are showing up on the little Facebook feed here that I got going. So, but to everyone who's out there, whose name I do see, whose name I don't see, Shabbat Shalom. It's great to see all of you, or sort of see all of you, be able to be with all of you. So let's say our blessing for Torah study, and then we're just going to dive right into a quick drash based upon a small little verse that we have in this week's Torah portion. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. We acknowledge you, God, as the source of all life. Grateful for opportunities to be able to come together to learn and to grow and hopefully do human better. Amen. So this week's Torah portion, Parshat Toldot, terrific Torah portion in terms of just so much material. In terms of Isaac, the dynamic between Isaac and Rebekah, the dynamic between Isaac and Rebekah and their kids, the dynamic between Jacob and Esau. Great stuff. In the middle of all of that family drama, we have this moment where Isaac, sort of following the pattern of his father, encounters a king, goes down to Gerar and settles there, becomes very prosperous. God blesses him. And there's a point in time when the king, Avimelech, is kind of looking at Rebekah. Well, not looking at Rebekah. He sees Rebekah and Isaac sort of playing, and he realizes the way they're playing, yeah, they ain't brother and sister the way this guy told me. So really interesting story. And what will eventually happen is the king will say that anyone who touches Isaac's wife, anyone who touches Rebekah, will be put to death. Okay, but then the story goes on. So Isaac sowed in the land and reaped 100-fold the same year. The Lord blessed him, and the man grew richer and richer until he was very wealthy. He acquired flocks and herds and large households, so that the Philistines envied him. And the Philistines stopped up all the wells which his father's servants had dug in the days of his father Abraham, filling them with earth. And Abimelech said to Isaac, "Go away from us, you have become far too big for us." So this is the Torah that I want to be able to work off of today. And the verse I want to focus on is the Philistines stopped up all the wells that Abraham had dug. And it's such a curious action. And there's not a lot of commentary on it. There's not a lot of explanation about it. However, Ovadia Sforno, who is a 15th century Italian commentator, makes the following note. When asking, why did they stop up the wells? He says, well, it's simple, because they were so jealous of the prosperity that Isaac had, that since they couldn't have those wells because they were dug by Abraham, and they were dug during Abraham's times, and Isaac had a legitimate claim to him, but therefore, since the Philistines couldn't have those wells, they decided nobody should have those wells. No one should benefit from them whatsoever. And what we see here is, and Sforno picks up on it and talks about their jealousy kind of compelling them to do this. And what we see here is just this. We see how their jealousy and their anger towards Isaac blinds them to what they have. right? They're so angry, they're so jealous of him that they have to stop up his stuff, right? Because they're focused on him and what he has rather than acknowledging what it is that they have, right? That ability to acknowledge what we have is a fundamental value within Jewish tradition. I've spoken about this so many times, so I will not belabor the point. But it's worth noting that the first prayer that a Jew is meant to recite upon waking up is the prayer Modeh Ani, which begins with the word Modeh Ani, I am thankful, right? The first word out of our mouth is meant to be that of gratitude. Even our name, Yehudi, comes from the verb lehodot, meaning to thank. And Judaism understands the importance of offering gratitude and teaches that in the days of the Messiah and the days of redemption, right, when all the sacrifices have been annulled, when all the sacrifices are done with, the offerings of gratitude will remain, right? And when all the prayers are finished in the time of the Messiah, and you don't need to pray, still the prayers of gratitude will remain. Why? Because gratitude is one of those muscles. You either use it or you lose it. And if we're not actively engaged and understanding and aware of the things for which we have to be grateful, in time, our gratitude will diminish, right? And when our gratitude for the things around us diminishes, we are then susceptible to become like those Philistines. And rather than being grateful for what we have, we're going to be jealous and angry about what we see that other people have, thereby not being able to really appreciate the gifts that life has given us. Think about this as we approach the holiday of Thanksgiving. And we are being told that there are a whole bunch of things that we can't do, especially in terms of gathering in large groups with family members and traveling. And people are upset, and people are angry, and people are frustrated, and I get it. The situation in which we find ourselves right now is so difficult. First, we're dealing with a pandemic, and judging by the numbers going on across our country, it would seem that we are not dealing with it very well. The increase in numbers on almost every metric is of great concern and anxiety. In addition, we're dealing with an economic crisis, one where tens of millions of people are suffering. We might not see it so much, but it is there, and the statistics and the data all show that so many of our fellow Americans are hurting. In addition, right, our democracy is being challenged. Our democracy is being challenged by our president, who refuses to accept the election results, even as every case that he brings to court is being thrown out. And that just introduces yet another level of agitation and anxiety. We are overwhelmed by all the things that are going on around us, such that it's understandable when people speak about, COVID fatigue, and how so many of us who have tried to kind of observe the guidelines and wear the masks and do the social distance thing and all of that, people are tiring. It is a hard time. It's a hard time for our bodies. It's a hard time for our wallets. It's a hard time for our souls. And in such hard times, when we are then told, as one of these most joyous of holidays comes along, that our ability to gather, our ability to be with our friends and our family and our loved ones, the people who help us keep us going during these times, to be told that we have to limit that is just hard. It's difficult. And it leaves us feeling bitter and angry. And so right now we hear that bitterness and anger, and it's been building for a while now, but we hear it all the more so at this point in time, with all of this unease and anxiety and insecurity around us. So people are fetching and angry and complaining about all the things that we don't have, about all the things that we can't do, about all the things that we've lost. And here's the thing, that stuff is real. That stuff is really real in terms of the pain that people feel. And I also believe that among the most constructive, most positive, most helpful ways that we can deal with that is to not only focus on what we can't do, but also on what we do have. Right now, so much of the conversation is the things that are being taken away from us. And I'm not denying those things. And people have lost so much. Jobs, homes, food, loved ones. Ah, the pain of it. It's just overwhelming. And one way in which we can hold that pain and not let it hold us is to remember the things which we do have, the things that we can do. Remember the things basically that we can be grateful for at this time. And some of those things can be small. Just the ability to have one's health, which I take back is not a small thing. The ability just to be able to get up, the ability to be able to experience our world, the ability to be able to connect with one another through these screens. Imagine what this would all be like if we did not have computers. Our ability to be able to help others, our ability to be helped by others, or our willingness to be helped by others, our ability to have some food before us, our ability to call and reach out and talk to the people that we love because they're still here, and we are grateful for that. My friends, there are so many things, so many reasons to be upset. There's so many reasons to be angry. But if all we do is focus on the anger, then that's all we're going to feel. And that's all then that we're going to share. And focusing on the anger then just leaves us feeling angry and anxious and unhappy. And then that's how we act out and share into the world around us. And as I said, I'm not denying any of the pain and the suffering. And we have a lot of things which we have every right to be angry about and to complain about. And we also must remember to focus on the things for which we can be grateful. Because it is from that place of gratitude where even the things that we don't have perhaps don't hurt us quite as much. And we're able to see the bigger picture. We're able to open ourselves up. We're able to take in and appreciate the things that we do have. And then deal with the problems that we have, the very serious problems that we have, coming from a place of gratitude, from a place of strength, from a place of groundedness. For coming from that place will be one of the ways in which we will be able to help ourselves and those around us be able to deal with all of the struggles around us. So my friends, this time it feels a little bit odd to say have a happy Thanksgiving because, as I said, I know there is much that we are struggling with. But you know something? With a little bit of gratitude, maybe this Thanksgiving can be happy enough. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.